What is up, my tribal people? Welcome back to another episode clip of Pree Da Podcast. I just reminded that these are only shortened clips, and if you want to listen to the full episode, make sure you click the first link in the description below. Alternatively, you can type in Pree Da Podcast on all your audio listening platforms. And if you want to keep up with what goes on behind the scenes, make sure you follow all our socials at Pree Da Podcast. Without further ado, catch you guys on the other side. But there's some people who obsessed with, Beyonce, everything around Beyonce. I have a whole Stan account, everything I'm posting every day about Beyonce and, Blue Ivy and all this stuff. I'm like, that surely can't be helpful. You can be, like you said, you could be using that time for something more beneficial to you.
You are now listening to Pree Da Podcast with your host, Majaro.
What is up, my people? Welcome back to Pree Da Podcast. And before we get going, you already know what I'm going to say. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We're just trying to grow the community. And by sharing this with your friends and family, that goes a long way in helping us do that. Now, let's get into it. And we are back with Jude. Before we went on the break, we were just discussing, and you said you were going to offer a course that you've based around the 6 principles. What are those principles that you're talking about?
Yeah, so this is 6 steps. It's basically the concept of it is to help people or give people the tools they need to have an overall better life. This is the 6 steps is what I went through myself personally and what I've been advising other people to do. And a lot of people tell me, you should create a podcast, you could do this and that. But this is why I just decided to just create a course. I'm not creating it yet, but I'm in the process of creating a course to then hopefully provide people with the opportunity and the knowledge and education to then better their lives if they choose to do so.
Okay, so say I'm one of these people. To be fair, everyone needs help in their life. Everyone needs some sort of guidance and some sort of confidence.
It's never a case of he's going to get you from A to B. He's going to teach you that it's going to be a continuous journey. You're never ever going to develop to a person where this is good enough. You're going to continue to grow, continue to progress and get better. And the course will teach you that as well. Okay, so what is the first step? The first step is habits. So I'm sure everyone's got the bad habits. Everyone's got what they think are good habits.
Yeah.
It's obviously personal to the person. But the course will teach you about habits, what habits are important, not just in terms of your day, but, you look at the whole picture of life and scale it back down. You could say your whole life comes down to your last decade, which comes down to your last half decade, which comes down to your year, to your having a good month, having a good week, come down to having a good day. So the habits throughout the day is what actually builds your entire life, and people don't actually give themselves the time and opportunity to develop good habits to actually make their life in the long run better. So I'll teach you the basic concepts of habits, good habits, why you have bad habits, have to change your habits formation, habit stacking, things like that are the tools to actually develop good habits. And this is the key steps because you can't go from one step to another without understanding and completing the first step. So they're all interlinked. So the first step's habit, yeah.
Like with me, when I started going to the gym, I knew there was a couple of things that I needed to do to sustain it, right? I got told that to form any sort of habit, it takes, what I heard was 30 days. So it takes 30 days to form any sort of habit. So if you're drinking for 30 days or in a 30-day period a lot, you're going to start forming that habit. If you're, trying to, lose weight and you go to the gym 3 times a week for a month, you're going to form that habit. So one of the things for me was just go to the gym or do cardio, almost every day for 30 days and then build up to another 30 days and then it'll be every month you'll be churning along. And one of the bad habits I have for sure is just, I used to eat a lot. Being Nigerian, you had big, massive plates of carbohydrates, rice, starch,
Oily food.
oils, loads of spices. So I started off by cutting out my portions because I used to have like massive platefuls of rice. Rice was a killer for me, man. So
Yeah.
when I started to cut that down, that's when I started to see progression in my weight loss and muscle gain. Just by those two steps, by, you know, focusing on being consistent in the gym and then cutting down on my portions. And then another thing for me is desserts, man. Like donuts, any apple pie, crumble, custard.
Yeah.
If it's about, it's all mad. It's all mad. I'm a big pig like that. So, you know, recently I've fallen off in regards to that, but I'm trying to build that habit back again in terms of eating healthy.
Yeah.
I'm still going to the gym, but like when you're trying to, you know, maintain fitness, you know, the gym is just important as your diet, in my opinion. Like before, I used to think it was just going to the gym, but I saw minimum progress.
No,
but it needs to be both of them at the same time. So yeah, habits definitely important. So what's the second step then?
So the second step is physical. So obviously, once you understand the basics of habits and how they can form, or what are your good habits and what are your bad habits, and when you acknowledge that actual aspect of things, then you can move on to the physical, which is then going to the gym, lifting heavy weights, or making sure you're running twice a week, or even in terms of like yoga or Pilates, or how you want to challenge yourself, it's up to you. But having that 3 to 4 times a week, you're doing something physically to challenge yourself. That's the next stage. So, and with that, the coach will then give you like a fitness guide in terms of like what exercise to do for beginners, people in military, and then obviously people who've been working out a lot, or have little sections for you to dip in and out of in terms of like what's going to challenge you, what routines to have. You want to build muscle, you want to lose fat. So the course is going to help you in terms of actual guiding as a PT almost. Yeah. In that aspect.
Because like, I feel like when you leave high school, mainly, you fall out of that routine like we talked about. Routine of exercising at least 3 times a week because you have, you know, PE lessons 3 times a week at a minimum.
Yeah.
Some schools have it like every other day essentially. So when people don't have that physical activity built into their schedule, they literally just fall off a cliff. Like you see people after a year of not, you know, being in high school and they're in college, you see them, their face balloon and all this. I'm like, like what's happened? Like you're thinking, you know, that can't be healthy, because I feel like people underestimate how mentally important it is for you to maintain your body or do some, you know, physical activity, because it releases like endorphins in your brain to make you feel good. You know, you feel like a sense of achievement when you break a milestone, when you break a sweat, when you know, you lift your personal best, or you break your time or something like that. I feel like I'm a big proponent of health. I feel like, you know, the longer you can stay on this earth, the better it's going to be for you, for your family, for your loved ones. Like even, like one of the things like my mum was doing, you know, even, you know, to the day that she passed away, was she was just trying to lose weight. She was trying to eat healthy, because I feel like she realized that, you know, the diets that she was, you know, brought up in, isn't conducive to, you know, living a long life in terms of, you know, not having weight, high blood pressure and cholesterol. You know, you've heard all the stories, you know, from our mums talking about it. So yeah, I feel like, you know, health is definitely wealth for sure.
No, 100%. And in terms of people referring to the body as the unconscious mind or the temple or the Garden of Eden, once you like look after yourself physically, then you can then start to have a better life and outlook of life, because you're going to get the confidence, you're going to get the good, and hormones being released, like you said. So it ties back into the habit, and then once you've got the habits in place, then you've got the goal in place, then it moves on to mental. Again, mental is whatever you want to call it. Mental health, good mental health, bad mental health, mentalism, whatever you want to refer it as. But that section would be mostly on knowing yourself, like conquering self. I think people don't know themselves a lot. They're distracted. Social media, Netflix, eating junk food,
Deliveroo, just
watching
eat.
porn, whatever distraction or negative habits they have. People don't know themselves, and it's affecting them mentally. So it's also going to give you tools such as meditation, yoga, journaling. Just little tools that have helped me deal with my mental health or know myself better. I feel like people will obviously utilize this tool to help themselves.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So that's step 2. What is step 3?
No, step 3 was mental.
Oh,
so
step 3 is mental.
Step 1's habit, step 2 is physical, step 3 is mental.
Okay.
So I remember I was meditating once, and my mum's like, "What are you doing? Like, what is this witchcraft or whatever it is?"
What is this you do with your hands?
I know it's funny, right? Obviously, meditation's got this concept that you have to cross your legs and put your hand like this. Now, meditation, you're just sitting there in silence and just
focus on your breathing. I feel like that's the one of the things that people underestimate is the breathing.
So
the breathing aspect.
It's mindfulness as a whole. So again, when I do yoga, it's mindfulness because you're at one with your body. You're present in the moment, moving your body in a certain way, in a certain flow, watching the way you breathe. Yeah. And obviously, recently, mum's come to me and said, "Oh, she's been doing yoga and mindfulness." I'm like, "Oh, really? Welcome to the club." But I feel like people don't utilize these tools enough, and you can see in society these days people have a lot of mental health issues. That comes down to not exercising enough, having bad habits, and not watching what they're taking in mentally. So what you watch, what you listen to. Like even certain distractions, like I said earlier, like I don't give my time and energy to the things that don't serve me. So I won't distract myself with like social media and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And obviously, journaling is almost writing down your unconscious feelings, and then you read it back and you realize, oh, this is how I'm actually feeling, and then you actually deal with the stuff you don't want to deal with. And yeah, so the course will obviously go through all these little things with you, break it down into more detail. So yeah, that's the third. So,
because when it comes to the mental aspect, right, we are heavily influenced by obviously the devices that we watch and we listen to. That's why a lot of people, like listening to podcasts on interesting things or things that are new and different perspectives. But there's also the flip side where you might be consuming, like you said, stuff that isn't helpful to you, or you're following 10,000 drama / news, quote unquote, news channels like Shadeborough or Shade Room that just, feed you with irrelevant news about, Meghan Markle, Katie Price's new Botox surgeries, or this beef with that person, this beef with this person.
Things, yeah.
And it kind of distracts you from your own, worries. Like some people have been, like people I've met, some people are so like engaged or like obsessed more with the online presence of other people is actually worrying. It's like, how have you got this time to be focused on someone else's life like that? For me, I just see it in passing. I'm like, oh, that's an interesting story. I might have to cover that on the podcast, or I might have to cover that on one of my short form video content. So that's interesting to talk about and have a discussion. But there's some people who like obsessed with, I don't know, Beyonce, everything around Beyonce. I have a whole Stan account, everything I'm posting every day about Beyonce and, Blue Ivy and all this stuff. I'm like, that surely can't be helpful. You can be, like you said, you could be using that time for something more beneficial to you.
Yeah, it's escapism though, isn't it? Like, especially the people who are consuming this content, you would say they're not living the best lives, in a low vibration, in a low frequency. So that's like taking yourself with another person's life, but almost take you out of the reality that you're living in the moment. So that's why they have a focus on those people's life other than themselves, because their lives themselves is not what they want to live.
Yeah, it's peak. It's peak. Because like we were talking about COVID times, right? And what I remember in terms of people's mental health, I was living in a shared accommodation, right? And when you don't have the ability to go out, go to work, you're confined to your four walls where you're living with five other people that you might see for, I don't know, maximum 5 hours a day and then go to bed and then, you know, do that cycle of work and come back home and chill by yourself and then you might see them, you know, passing through or chill on the sofa. But when all that is shut and you have to spend 10 hours, 15 hours with them on a consistent basis, you start to realize who you're actually living with. And there was this one person who literally went insane. She was just, you could tell that her whole life was revolved around social media and this facade that she tries to portray herself to be. But when, you know, she had time to sit down and be still, right? And be mindful of, you know, who she is, you know, what she's accomplished. Has she made any, you know, meaningful connections over the past years with people that are in her life? And then realizing that she's been dedicating so much time to following, you know, what the Kim Kardashians are saying, that she hasn't realized, when, you know, I need people to talk to in my own life that are close to me and not just some random people I've met on Instagram or in passing at a club. You know, there's no one here for me. So then she started to lash out at people, started to make up excuses, started to just be spiteful and just be picking at irrelevant stuff. Oh, you know, who didn't close the door? Who's left this here? Who's left this here? Why is this always here? She's, you know, dropping plates of food in front of people's doors and she's going crazy. And at the end, she had to get evicted, bro. Like, we had to call the police on her and the police came through and said, right, we videoed everything, her whole mental breakdown. She even got one of the other housemates to back her up. And they were like two twins of chaos, right? Literally made the whole house a toxic hellhole. We finally got the police to get involved after months of telling the landlord, like, this is going on, you know, this isn't healthy, like, you know, she's actually threatening people and, you know, X, Y, and Z. She's damaging property, like, you need to do something. And he was just, I can't do anything. So when she finally crossed the line of physically attacking people and damaging them, you know, we recorded it, sent it to the police. Police was there within a week. And when the police came in and spoke to her, she was acting like this perfect angel. Oh, I don't remember that. Oh, you know, we don't have anything like that. We don't have fights. We don't have arguments. Oh, we have little disagreements here and there, but nothing like this, nothing like what you're telling me. And then within, you know, 2-3 weeks, she was gone because she was like, right, we need to leave because we've burned the bridges with so many people here that we can't stay here. And if anything else kicks off, because it would have been likely for them to kick off because that's what they were doing. You know, the police is going to be here again and it's not going to be a good visit this time. So she got off with a warning on that one. So she thought, yeah, let me skedaddle real quick before anything pops off even more, which, you know, was a smart decision for her for sure. Yeah. So that mental aspect, is very important, especially when, you know, life is difficult and life is ever changing and you can't foresee stuff like COVID. You never know what the next big event in everyone's lifetime is that can just change the whole world like that. So yeah, you have to definitely take care of your mental health. So
yeah, and it's almost like colossing your mind, so it's just making your mind stronger. Because you never know, like I said, you never know what life's gonna throw at you. So if you're not in a place mentally to deal with anything life can throw at you, then anything can break you. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
So by solidifying your mind and being ready for any situation that may come up, then you're more prepared to deal with whatever situation that comes up and not let it affect you and take you into that dark hole or that dark place so you can't come out from. So it's obviously important to keeping track of keeping front of your mental state. So yeah, so like I said, it's all in order. So obviously habits, physical, mental, you can't do one or the other. The physical side of it is proving to yourself that physically you're strong enough to deal with whatever. So then mentally you're almost like strong enough to do it as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
When you're physically capable, you're mentally capable as well. Can you prove to yourself that you can?
So after the third step, what's the fourth step?
This is probably the biggest barrier. It's financial.
Yeah. Yes. The P.
Financial, man. People are not financially literate, bro. People are not financially educated. Especially in the communities that we come from. you don't get taught these things in school for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
You don't get the basic concepts of financial literacy in terms of earning more than you spend, in terms of saving 10%, in terms of having a emergency fund, in terms of having savings and then investing, what to invest in the stock market, real estate, even cryptocurrency now, whatever you want to invest in. You don't get taught these things. Even high saving bonds or ROIs or whatever. You don't get taught any of these things, right? So the next step is financial, because I feel like people aren't depressed or people don't have mental health, they're just broke. You know what I mean? I think Nipsey Hussle said the best: get a bit of money and watch your life change. You know, or there's little things that you're stressing about. If you can afford to live a better life, you won't stress about those things. So the things that are making people depressed now, it might be what? The rent, the cars, going out, buying holidays, whatever.
Petrol.
Like, these are not real issues to be stressing about. Like, just get a bit of money and then you wouldn't even care about these things anymore because you can afford to do these things, you know what I'm saying? So financial is a big aspect of why people are not living a life that they want, because they're not educated enough to or have the mindset to also change their situation they're in.
And when it comes to financial, like, obviously it's very hard because no one can control what circumstances they were born in. You couldn't control the amount of money your family has to even invest in you, or take you to this place, take you to that place, or even take you to, for example, have extra lessons because you're failing on the subject. So that one is very, like, a lot of people, that could be very circumstantial for them. They're like, oh, I don't feel like I have the right money or the amount of money. But like with the course you said you were going to offer, it's all about making it relevant to them, right? It's all about making it relevant to their circumstance and how much money they have. It's a mindset thing.
Whether, like, I think it's Henry Ford that said this: whether you can or you can't, you're right. Yeah. So if I've heard a lot of kids say, "Oh, I'm from a shit area. I'm broke. I'm never going to be anything. Money poor." If you have that mindset, yeah, you're right. That's the life you're going to have. Yeah. But if you say to yourself, right, I'm going to have money, I'm going to be financially free, I'm going to live the life I want, then start taking the steps to manifest that life, then you're going to be right as well. You're going to be able to do so. It's all about your mindset. Yeah, if you have a mindset of being poor and being broke are different. Being poor is a way of living, it's a mindset. Whereas being broke is just not having money now, but you're going to get money at some point, right?
Yeah.
So changing that mindset is the most important thing in terms of not thinking just because you're poor now, that's what you're always going to be. Like, it's ridiculous for me to even think that people believe that being poor is not a choice. It is a choice.
Being poor is not a choice.
Being poor is a choice. If you don't want to be poor, and you learn how not to be poor by copying what the rich people are doing, by educating yourself. And it's not a case of getting the knowledge. The knowledge is there for everyone. Everyone has the knowledge. The internet exists. People have the biggest access to the library the world has ever seen, and they're not using it. So it's not just about having it, the knowledge or the education, is about implementing it. So doing the right things. Okay, stop spending your money on Netflix, Uber Eats, going to the club, buying takeaway every day, this and that. Save your money, have the emergency funds, start investing, and just be patient for the long run, because investing is about compound interest. And obviously in the long run, that money coming, your money working for you. So the course is going to educate you basically about financial literacy. And obviously when you have the information, is then what you do with that. And then hopefully you can move out of that poor mindset into a life of abundance.
Yeah, because when I was like, I think sixth form, I studied a course called, it was like the IFA, or, Institute of Finance. And it was all about financial literacy. I think it was called something financial services, or diploma in financial services. So it's all about the stuff that you're talking about, how, to budget, what are the essentials that you need in your life, like, rent, food, heating, petrol and stuff like that, going to work and stuff like that, clothing, stuff like that. What are the essentials in your life? Budget for that. Okay, what are the luxuries in your life? Okay, takeaways. you've got enough food to last you for the month. Take the takeaways away, right? Take the takeaways away.
Mm-hmm.
What else? Sky subscription, right? You might have a limited amount of money, right? But you can build on that and, like, you know, like you said, invest that or save that in, you know, a compound interest account or fixed ISA or some sort of, you know, investment vehicle by saving the subscription money for Netflix, subscription money for Sky. Like, for people who watch football and want to watch football on all the stations, get rid of BT Sports, get rid of all that. You can save a good £150 just by doing that a month, right?
Yeah, you see how this links to the other steps, though, in terms of the habits. In terms of mental. People want to escape their lives. They want to go on Netflix. They'll have Netflix, Amazon, and Prime. Right, why do you need free services?
And Disney Plus, and Disney Plus, and Disney Plus. Don't forget about that.
You know what I mean? So it's like people want to skip their lives. They want to be distracted. They don't want to sit with themselves. They don't want to create new habits, good habits. So in terms of financial, it's hard. It's hard to start saving if you're not in the habits of saving. You know, the idea of paying yourself first. You pay the mortgage advice, you pay the mortgage, the banks, you pay for your car finance, you pay Netflix, you pay Spotify, but you don't pay yourself after grafting for a whole month. You have nothing to show for it. You know, it's just coming out of that cycle and then identifying that, okay, I need to start changing the way I live my life financially to get to the place I want to be.
Yeah, for sure. So that's step 4?
That's step 4, yeah.
What is step 5 after physical, you know, habits, physical, mental, financial? What's the 5th step?
So the 5th step is spiritual. Now, this is obviously controversial depending on what you believe in. You know, I'm not going to tell you what to believe in. I'm just going to tell you how the universe works, basically, in terms of vibration, frequencies that are scientifically proven. You know, again, if you don't believe in science, it's up to you. What do you call it? God, higher power, or the universe? We all believe in the same thing, that there's a power, there's a source of power that created this whole life we're experiencing, this whole dimension we're in, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to teach you about the laws in terms of attraction, in terms of frequency, in terms of vibration, also in terms of what you believe about yourself, and creating the life you want to live, being at peace with yourself. And obviously I'm still learning things myself. So in terms of even the sources of information, we as Black people, our ancestors knew things that science are only discovering today, all the way back then. Yeah, from Kemet. So people talk about the Greek philosophers, right? Where did they get that there from? They got theirs from the Egyptians,
bro.
They got their stuff from Kemet. Yeah, so it all comes back to Africa and our ancestors, and there's so much information that we're not privy to, and I'm learning it myself, and I'm also want to like share that as well. So in terms of like vibrations, frequencies, law of attraction, how the universe works, mentalism, stuff like that, with polarities. So I'll give an example. So correspondence or even polarity, this for every good there's going to be a bad, right? That's just how the universe works.
Yeah.
So you can say, I'm not going to eat meat anymore. I'm just going to be a vegan, right?
Yeah.
But then to be a vegan, it costs more money to live that lifestyle. So to live that lifestyle, what you have to do, you have to make sure you're financially capable of doing so. So you might have to go work, right? So depending on how you view working, that might be the bad side. But then you're eating better, that might be the good side. It's up to you how you want to view life. But in terms of being spiritual, it's also knowing yourself and conquering self, and realizing that you're the creator of your own life. I feel like we're so out of touch of who we are as human beings in terms of how like we're almost letting life control us rather than realizing that we can actually create what we want to create in this life and live the life we want to live. Like, think about everything we have, the headphones, we have the laptops, this table, the chair. We've created it. It's in your imagination. And whatever is in imagination can come to reality. It's up to you. So obviously manifest that. So that spirituality section is going to be based on that.
What is the last principle then, or the last step?
Nutrition. So
Nutrition or attrition?
Nutrition.
Oh, nutrition.
So,
my bad.
Yeah, so what you eat, obviously, eating to live rather than just eating for the sake of eating. It's pretty much what you said before in terms of obviously growing up in a certain culture. They're used to eating certain foods and that being the norm, but understanding the concepts of you might eat meat, you say, oh yeah, you have to eat meat to get the protein, but where do the cows get the meat from? They eat grass. Yeah, the grass or plants or vegetables, they photosynthesize all these essential supplements that we need to consume to obviously stay alive, to live our best lives or whatever. In terms of diseases, that's created from mucus, right? Build up mucus in your body is what creates all the diseases. Even arthritis is built from mucus in your joints, right?
Okay.
So, how do you clear this mucus from your body? You can eat kale, green teas, to flush your system out. So, going on a fruit diet for a week, not hard that is.
Yeah.
Like, on the first
Did you say
day,
a fruit? Just fruits?
Just fruit. On the first day, I promise you're going to be craving a Mars bar or something. Yeah, you're going to be tweaking, bro. Yeah. So even the basic stuff like eating vegetables and fruit. So when you wake up in the morning, what's the first thing you consume?
I'm not gonna lie. For me, it's something bad. Okay, depends on what. If I'm going to work, it's probably going to be like a sausage roll or something, which is bad.
Mm-hmm.
And when I'm at home, it's probably like a HelloFresh meal. Probably a HelloFresh meal.
Yeah.
But I know it should be water. It should be water.
Yeah, it should be water at room temperature. Yeah.
At room temperature, not cold.
At room temp, no, because your body isn't cold. It's hot inside your body, so you need to be at room temp. Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna have to start doing that now.
Yeah, so obviously I've got an alkaline jug that filters my water because I can't drink tap water. So I've got an alkaline jug. I'll fill it up in the morning, put it in this bad boy here, 2.2 litres. That's my water for the day. Yeah, that's the first thing I consume. And after that, you can start eating your fruits. So you can't be able to see it there. Fruit bowl. But yeah, obviously the basics that you need. I've got the green teas, stuff like that. So fruit and vegetables, you need to understand why you're eating them as well. So it links with the spirituality, it links with the physical, the mental, obviously the habits of getting into doing it. But obviously eating this sort of diet is almost a privilege because it's quite expensive to do so. It's cheaper to just go to Iceland, buy packs of frozen foods, stick it in the freezer, and just defrost it when you need to.
Bro, you don't understand.
Fruits.
Like like we've all seen the diet triangle, right? We've all seen the diet triangle.
Even that's cap. But
that's the biggest load of cap I've ever heard. It's saying you need to have a solid base of carbohydrates as the meat of the basis of your diet is carbohydrates. Then it's vegetables, then fruits, then dairy. How come dairy's there, bro? Dairy should not be there. Dairy should not be there.
As humans, but even like lactose intolerant, because once you get to a certain age, your body starts to resist milk to almost wean you off your mother's breast in it. So that's why a lot of adults are lactose intolerant, because your body makes sure you're weaned off it to allow the younger babies to get the milk that they need and the older ones to stop taking it, basically. Yeah. So humans shouldn't be drinking milk past a certain age anyway. And obviously, you have certain societies and communities who obviously had sheep and goats and cows and domesticated those animals to be able to live off milk. So a lot of their genetics allow them to drink milk as adults. But the majority of us, that's why a lot of us have bad bellies after drinking a milkshake or something.
Yeah. The mac and cheese and be macking after the cheese.
Yeah. So just understanding why you should eat certain foods, the dangers of processed foods, the dangers of too much meat, and the thing about this being the last step is hopefully you get to a place where you want to do it, because in terms you're spiritually drawn to do it, you're physically drawn to do it, because you know the benefits of it. Cleansing your body, cleansing your temple, it will help your mind get rid of all the little clutters that's in there, or the little mucus that's in there. Drains, like, it gets you fresh, new red blood cells, all the little benefits scientifically that comes with eating vegetables and fruits in your diet. It's going to educate you on all of that and why you should eat it. And obviously it's up to you then where we want to implement that in your life.
Yeah, because like even when it comes to football, there's been a whole wave of footballers in recent years switching from having meat in their diet for protein to completely going off meat and just eating vegetables as a base. Mm-hmm. Like I know Chris Smalling, who had a history of, being injured regularly. It wasn't like anything too crazy, but he'll get injured, miss couple games, he'll have a period of being stable and then miss a couple games, and kept on doing that. And for a footballer, like, injury is the killer of your career, right? So the more injuries you have, the less, efficient your body will be in terms of doing what it's used to. Have, it'll be compensating for, places that are injured or weak. It would start, some people, like, once they get injured, they just keep on getting injured. And a lot of footballers have recently switched to just having vegetables in their diets, and being basically vegetarians. And then they've said that it's worked wonders, like they don't get injured half as much. Yeah. They feel, a lot more energized. The performances go through the roof. And Chris Smalling, who used to play for Manchester United, is like one of the recent examples. And I feel like there's a lot of players who are quote unquote injury prone, right? Every couple of games they get injured and they're out for a month. And it isn't anything to do with like, getting tackled or anything. It's just their body, quote unquote, breaking on themselves. If, it'll be interesting to see, obviously this would never happen, to see if like the likes of Paul Pogba, who gets injured constantly, or Anthony Martial, who are like famous French footballers, if they switch their diets up, to be more plant-based or fruit-based, to see if those benefits in terms of reducing mucus and reducing the the lactic build in their muscles would actually help them stay fit. It would be very interesting to see if that was the case, but we can only wish and hope if they make that decision.
Yeah, so like I'm not a nutritionist or a doctor, but I have done a lot of like research into the matter of why it's beneficial, and so preventing injuries is one of the biggest things of why you should change your diet. Or I'm not even saying stop eating meat, I'm just saying implement more vegetables and fruit into your diet. Again, it's a privileged lifestyle to just become vegan. I can't afford to just be vegan. I still have to just get the meats in bulk and freeze it, and then obviously use that as a meal prep. But again, I'm implementing all these things into my life, and I can see the benefits of it. So, the course will also give you little like sources of information that you should listen to, books you should read in each step. I'll give you books you should read, podcasts you should listen to.
One of them being Pree Da Podcast.
So that's all the 6 steps.
So when have you got like a timeline of when you're going to release, this course? And what's it?
Yeah, so the 23rd of August is my planned release date. Obviously, I don't know. Things can change, but I'm hopefully going to release it on the 23rd of August.
Okay, is it like a subscription based? Is it like a one-time fee, or how is it that people can get it?
It's a one-time fee. So you pay for the course, you get the link, you go on the course room or the classroom, then you'll have each steps broken down. So you can have the education part of it, you can have the video podcast part of it, of me sharing my experiences and the benefits of doing this step. you're going to have all the resources of what I recommend reading, watching, etc. And then obviously you're going to have one phone call with me as well on each step to obviously guide you through it. And then once you've done that, then you move on to the next step and then progress through that way.
Okay, sick. I'm looking forward to it. I might have to, subscribe and see what I got, and have to, try out the product for myself. For sure.
Yeah.
Have you got
go on, sorry.
Have you got like a price base for it yet, or are you still working that out?
I've not created a thing. I've not created the course yet. I don't want to create any mediocre product, so I'm literally going to give my life energy into this. I've stopped working. I'm going to focus my entire time into creating this course, and whatever it's going to cost is going to reflect on the amount of time I put into this. So it won't be cheap, but the benefits you get from it is almost all these different aspects of life brought into one place for your convenience. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, it obviously depends how much people want to invest in themselves. And obviously I'm going to value what I produce. So yeah, it's not going to be cheap.
Okay, calm.
Said I wake up every morning, pray to God that I'm fixing up. Hope I'm never slipping up. Hear the money calling, need my peace to start getting up. Feeling like I'm blessed, but it came with a bit of luck. Feeling like you stressed, then the tension starts to fill you up. Need an intermission, yeah, they ain't the same lane as us. Come from different sticks, yeah, they're not the same range as us. They cop the pleas and top of teas, they're not hitting range with us. Keep